Good afternoon on your Thursday. I'm forecaster Andrew Fleck for AnalystWeathercast.org, and I'm sure most of you are aware that a nor'easter, as some would call it, is coming up the coast, and it's going to bring either a lot of rain or a lot of snow to some areas. And I'm going to show two slides of my ideal of what I think the storm's going to do for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And then I'm going to show a third slide of what is relevant to what I've talked about. But first, let me just give you a time lapse of what has happened from early this week to late this week. Models this week, this early Monday, Tuesday, they had a very strong storm off the Mid-Atlantic coast. It was going to bring a lot of cold air in. It's going to be a lot of snow and very heavy snow over the region. And now what has happened is that low pressure does not appear as strong off the Mid-Atlantic coast, but gaining strength later off from New Jersey, Long Island, and Cape Cod. So instead of having the heaviest precipitation over the Mid-Atlantic states and even in some places of Maryland, instead it's going to be heaviest from about northern New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and northward. So this has all been because of that intensity of the low pressure. Again, if this low pressure begins to strengthen very quickly, that cold air gets pulled in, feeds into the storm, it gets stronger, and some of that heaviest precipitation along with snow can go that south. But as of right now, models definitely disagreeing from what they had earlier this week to now late this week. And again, that's more of the northern Mid-Atlantic into the Northeast having more of that snowier threat and the heaviest snow threat. So generally what we're going to be seeing this evening and overnight is a big swath of low pressure hitting off the Mid-Atlantic coast here. Again, it was supposed to be a lot more intenser as models depicted earlier this week, but just thinking it's going to be more of an open low, and with that you're going to have just some lighter precipitation inland of PA, West Virginia, and the upper Northeast here. The 850 line where the snow is going to fall, separates from the snow and where the rain is going to fall, looks to be in about here. Over or above that red line is where wintry precipitation would be falling. Below that, more of a mix or just rain, and that would be toward the evening and overnight hours. But then what begins to happen toward tomorrow, April Fool's morning or so, that low really starts to strengthen. Not off the Mid-Atlantic coast, but off the Northeast coast. As you can see, definitely a better structure here. The heaviest rain pulling in here from Cape Cod, and then the cold air starts to feed directly north to south. And what I do think is very important to what you need to look at with this storm is where the highest concentration areas of convergence are going to be. I did a few maps on other models, and I was comparing what seemed to be the best placement for where the best converging moisture for any of that wintry precip is going to be. And I found out that yes, although this map here for this evening and overnight has a lot of snow even down inland West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and so the convergence is not going to be at its best. Okay, yes, you will have your snows. Okay, yes, you will have a lot of that precip moving in here, all from the Northeast coast down to the Mid-Atlantic states. But where the heaviest and best convergence is going to be is, in my opinion, probably from central northwestern New Jersey, about eastern Pennsylvania, probably central eastern Pennsylvania, and then cutting back into the Northeast here. That's where I definitely think your best convergence area is going to be. Following in that area, there's going to be probably places that see 3 to 6 inches. Again, if you have colder air pushing into the storm, it strengthens a little quicker, well then accumulations could be much higher. But definitely in that axis right there, good chance for 3 to 6 inches. Could I add in higher amounts? I sure could, especially probably from northeastern Pennsylvania into upstate New York and further on. That's where that axis gets even heavier, and that convergence gets even more full, and that would really produce even heavier snow than what it had in Pennsylvania, But definitely Pennsylvania, New Jersey, eastern zones in those states is where it begins. But the convergence really takes over out of Pennsylvania, then up into the northeast. Again, like I said, 3 to 6 inches looks good in there. Higher amounts, definitely from northeast PA and northward, definitely not out of the question. But this is generally what I do think is going to happen. I mean, if the low pressure was stronger off the Mid-Atlantic coast, then it would have been more of that cold air feeding in across the Mid-Atlantic, and probably all snow and maybe a heavy snow across some of those states. But instead, it's going to strengthen too late, and it's going to benefit more of the northern Mid-Atlantic and northeast. And then, so last but not least, I'm going to explain one last map here. It definitely helps with finding out where the best converging areas are going to be. And you can definitely see the low pressure is going to be in here, just off Jersey, just off Long Island and Cape Cod. But generally in the shield around it, around this low pressure here that we have circled, you can definitely see. Okay. That's generally where the best convergence is going to be for precipitation in this event. Really all in this area right here. Okay, whether it's rain, whether it's snow, best converging area looks to be right there. Now, as for the temperatures, that's going to be a big crucial thing as well. You're going to have your 850, and that again is hanging almost to the Mason-Dixon line here, just above and just below the Lehigh Valley, central New Jersey, and then of course off or just close to that northeast coast here. But as this low pressure continues to move north and strengthen, it's going to pull that counterclockwise motion and that 850 temperature line closer to it, and that's going to change everybody to snow eventually. But again, I'm going to repeat this one last time and end this video here, that definitely everybody is in a convergence zone as far as western PA, West Virginia, and some of those states. But the best is going to be eastern PA, northern New Jersey, and northeastward. That looks to be your target area. Again, starting Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe 3 to 6, maybe only 2. It all depends in this low pressure. But I think northward, looking at 3 to 6 plus. So I hope you guys have a good afternoon. If you're in this area, get those shovels out, undust those snow blowers, because one more time we're going to rev them up, because another storm is on its way. I'm forecaster Andrew Flight for Analyst Weathercast.